wanted to talk about battling negativity and how to absolutely overcome that idea that you're stuck in a rut and you have to live a certain way just because that's what you think, because that's what you've been told, maybe that's what you're programmed to believe, whatever it might be, right? So the true meaning behind all of this would be happiness of living with love. Now, a lot of people will probably watch this and think, well, that's hokey and, that's so like rainbows and butterflies, and it's not. I want you to really consider the idea that love equals positivity. That's it. And it absolutely, every single moment of your day is a choice. You have the choice to live happily, or you have the choice to live in a less happy state, which we could call sad, we could call angry, we could call negative, however you want to look at it. And ultimately, it really, really starts to take its toll on our quality of life, our, attitude towards others, how we treat others, our relationships, probably our job, our financial security, everything. Like positivity, absolutely, or negativity, more importantly, absolutely can overrule our worlds. So today I want you to understand a few simple things about what it's like to live with love and how to battle negativity. And it's going to come across as possibly work that you would have to put in, but it's not something that you've never heard me say before. So that should get your wheels spinning. And it's also not something that, takes a lot of time, because I promise you these little tips, I didn't want to do them in the beginning at all. I was very against them because I didn't think I needed them. And ultimately it's been what has completely changed my life. It's been what has grown my confidence and allowed me to be where I am today, sharing what I share today, and speaking the way I speak today. I don't know how many times I have to tell you that if you would have told the girl I was, even 3 years ago right now, 3 years ago, I would never sat in front of my phone on a video with lighting and, a video corner in this room that used to be my husband's office. It's now mine. I've completely taken it over. And I would have never believed any of it because I was so very closed off to the idea that I could achieve more, and absolutely in a more negative state. I came from a place of scarcity instead of abundance. Scarcity is also another trait that can correlate with negativity. So all of these things, if you can remove one aspect of negativity from your life, it will start to trickle into all the other aspects that maybe feel negative, and it will completely change your life. It may take time, but it absolutely will if you stay consistent. So the first thing is really having a positive purpose for your day. And what that really ultimately every single day, every single morning should look like is love for yourself. That could mean you take five freaking minutes, and just sit in silence, drinking your coffee. If you have kids, I get it, but I also don't get it because it's I don't know how you function as a human being if you aren't taking time for yourself. You're not working from your best self, and it's so tough to give to others when you're really, really pouring from an empty cup. And a lot of us, it simply takes 5 minutes of, sipping on a gigantic unicorn cup of coffee, right, to feel recharged. You have to be willing to accept and be grateful for that 5 minutes and whatever the simple little thing is that you can do to recharge at the moment that you're getting it. And then eventually you'll learn how to self-care in different ways that are going to fill your cup as well. But when you're starting this out, you have to be really, really open to just getting that little second, that little window of what's going to allow you to grow and recharge. Because recharging is more important than anything else in your life. Swear to you. People have to take mental health days because they are so burned out. And it's ultimately because we don't spend enough time on ourselves. And I don't want that to come across as conceited or, self-absorbed. That's absolutely not what this is. And I don't feel like that's how I portray myself at all. What I really want you to understand is you have to have boundaries for yourself first. If you have a certain kind of standard for your life, for you, other people are going to respect that and understand that you need your time. You need your, whatever you want to call it, your self-care time, your recharge, whatever, right? But you need it, because if you don't have it, you're going to be a hag. And there's no way around that. If I am running on fumes and, I'm expected to go do something for somebody else at the end of my day, like, it's not a good time to do that for me. I know how I operate. I am much better during the day, way more energy. I can put my energy into all of my work, and then I can stop and I can recharge. And that usually means I get a good night's rest. I wake up, I make my coffee, I journal. In my daily planner, I have a planner that prompts me and tells me, asks me these different questions, and I fill it out every single day. I've been trying to use a devotional, so I spend that time and I read and I plug into something where I can use prayer and silence to quiet my mind and think deeper. And then I also have implemented a Bible study, because that's something for me personally that I want to investigate and go deeper into. So I have created that for myself. I get that I don't have kids, but I have a dog, and I'm not saying that my dog is like a kid, but she is, who is very, very regimented. Like, she thinks that at a certain time of day, it is time to eat, and she will not get out of my face unless I feed her. And then at this point right now, she can't go outside without being completely monitored, because our fence blew down and we have this big gaping hole that's just like covered with a wire barrier, meaning she can see the big open field behind our house that she's never been able to see before. And I don't like that. So it takes away time from what I'm used to having the freedom. I don't have that freedom anymore. So I get it. But I also think I know this, and this is the absolute truth, as bad as it sounds, I will not be my best self for June, my chocolate lab, if I don't get my time. If I don't have that little recharge in the morning where I set my mind right for what my intentions are going to be for the day. So it's really, really important to start off somehow with something positive. Now, if you don't have a lot of time to sit and, go and try to read a book, or, sit silently and do a devotional, have Bible time, all of that, there are apps you can download on your phone. There's one called Shine, I believe, and it's like a positive message app, and it will send you a positive little text every single day. And it usually links to like a video or something that's going to be more motivational, so you can dig deeper if you want, but there's also just that little bit that can brighten your day like that. Maybe that's all it takes for you, is like some little tip that's going to brighten your day. It doesn't matter what it is. You need to start plugging into that every single day. The next thing, positive environment. You need to protect your circle and your energy. Now, this one is tough, because a lot of times our environment might be out of our control, right? Maybe we work a job where the environment is not the best. Been there and done that. What I can say about that is you still have to go to your job, because your job is your livelihood, right? And there's ways around that as well. You can always follow a different dream. And I can tell you it's never too late to start. But what I will tell you is, in the time that you wake up and you decide you're going to devote, some self-care time, you do need to be reading books. You need to be filling your mind, or even listening to books, filling your mind with good information. And I'm not saying Danielle Steele romance novels. I'm saying self-development books. Things that are going to allow you to push through some barriers that you have, programming that you've grown up with, things that society has taught you that don't need to be there. Because being positive rubs off on other people, just like being in a negative environment can trash your mood, okay? So when you do not have control of your environment and you don't get to pick and choose where you are going to be, and maybe you're going to be surrounded by a complete energy vampire all day, I want you to really protect yourself by bulking your mind up with really good information, positive affirmations, things that are going to lift your spirits, inspire you, and motivate you to change the way you think, so that when that negativity comes in, it is less likely to infiltrate and affect you, because you can brush it off better when you know you've learned the tools for how to deal. Okay, so that's my tip for having a positive environment is ideal, but we don't always get to choose that. So in the instance that you are surrounded by negative energy vampires, or just in a negative environment in general, you really do have to build up your mind and your spirit with good information that's going to give you the tools to brush it off. That sounds so very like avoiding the situation, but you don't have to be involved in their stories, right? Your story is different than my story and his story and her story. Every single person has their own story to tell, but just because they're telling a story does not mean that's the truth you have to own. So I want you to really, really own that. That has to be your motivation for going into any situation. Yes, there's going to be stories. They are not always my truth to own, okay? Because you don't have to get involved in the drama. That's what I'm saying. The last one, love language. This one is I just think this one is the best. So I think it's really important to understand and know how you send and receive love. And then you set those expectations. So I didn't learn this until I actually became a business owner, and it was discussed a lot, and I didn't really even know it was a thing, but there's actually, I think, a test you can take so you understand what your love language is. There's books about it. I've never read any of them. I just know from what I've experienced in my business to what I've really, really enjoyed. And one of the big things for me is giving and receiving. I love recognition. But I also love recognizing others. I think that making a beautiful graphic and posting it, on somebody's Facebook or whatever, giving them a big shout out and being vocal about something they've accomplished or whatever is the best gift you can give anybody. Simply because I love receiving them, okay? The same with, getting something in the mail or a card or a nice note or whatever it might be. Those things light me up, as do sending them. So you have to understand, if giving is your love language and you really, really love giving gifts because you love seeing the other person receive, you need to make that expectation clear, specifically with your spouse, your partner, your family, so they can understand you better. Because a lot of times, just from personal experience, I will make a big deal about birthdays, holidays that, where you're typically giving gifts. And I have noticed other people that I'm surrounded by don't always think they're as big of a deal as I do. And that's not to, belittle them or shame them or anything like that. It's just that they have a different kind of love language. So for them, them just saying happy birthday or whatever is that's how they love, right? And that's fine. And I've had to learn to grow to accept that. But I also have made my expectations very clear to my husband, because he has to live with me, that my birthday is a big deal and we celebrate it like it's going out of style. Not like anything crazy, but just that day is a special day. And I do the exact same for him. I do it for my dog. It doesn't matter who it is. I think that, birthdays are sacred days that everyone should be celebrated like they are a queen or a king. And that really has translated for me to understand more about myself and just how, I correlate positive love, or just translate that in my life on a daily basis. That I really do respect way more relationships where there is that giving and receiving aspect, instead of just give and, take. And that sounds weird because it's exactly the same. Giving, receiving, it's the same. But there's a difference between reciprocal and someone who you give to who just is constantly taking and never giving anything back. And I think that that can be one of those like little avenues of a love language that we can get trapped on. So you have to be really, really protective of that as well. You have to set expectations, but you also have to be understanding of the other person and how they relate. But it's really one of those things, and you can Google it. I'm sure there's all kinds of websites, and there's probably tests, especially if you wanted to do this with your spouse, where you could take the quiz and see what your love language is like, and see what, maybe his or her love language is like, and then understand how to like maneuver that with each other, because I think it's really important. I think it's one of the things that can really build a strong basis for any relationship you're ever going to come across, whether it's, a love relationship, a friendship, a teammate kind of thing. It doesn't matter. It really is important to know that information and understand it about the other individual and respect it about the other individual, because ultimately lifting other people should always make you feel good, right? There should be this place in our hearts that is genuinely excited for somebody else when they achieve something. And I think a lot of times we get trapped in this place where sometimes our heart, or our mind, it's more our mind, tells us that we should be jealous or envious or feel less than because somebody else has accomplished something. And it should be the exact opposite. You should be so very, very excited for them. So very, very truly happy, because if you're living an abundant life, which means a positive life, you're not coming from a place of scarcity. Coming from a place of scarcity is when you feel envy and jealousy and negativity. And if you feel the need to have, say something negative about somebody's accomplishments or just their overall being, then it's not them that you're actually like hating on. You're really just like down on yourself. And that sucks. I've been there. I still get there sometimes, so I'm only saying it because this is something that I currently am working through. And it's really powerful when you can genuinely let go of like that comparisonitis and be extremely happy for somebody, and like you can't wait to see what else they're going to do. Because I think that's the thing, like being on the edge of your seat, excited for somebody else and what they've accomplished, it's rewarding and it's so very powerful. So to recap, happiness equals living in love, living with love, really, really intentionally setting your focus and approach to life in a positive way. So what that looks like is having positive purpose, love for yourself, and taking the time every single day to make sure you recharge. The next one is having a positive environment. And what that really looks like is building your brain into a positive environment so that any kind of environment or situation that might come your way, drama included, you can brush off and keep moving through. And then the last one is understanding your love language so that you can really approach your life with, intention and boundary, and also an openness to, any relationship that you might have, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to understand their love language as well, so that you guys can reciprocate each other appropriately. And it really becomes this deep down strong bonds that are so very powerful. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that helps you battle some negativity. I hope those tips are useful and things that you can use. Absolutely comment if you have any questions, like, love, share. Always, always, always. I'm so grateful that you're watching this. So thank you again for tuning in. I will talk with you guys later.